Now let's talk health. The World Health Organization has raised fresh concerns about global access to water, sanitation, and proper hygiene. A new report shows that billions of people are still deprived of these basic human rights, with women and girls bearing the greatest burden. And the WHO is warning that billions of people worldwide still lack access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene despite global progress. A new WHO report reveals that 2.1 billion people lack safely managed drinking water. 1.7 billion lack basic hygiene services at home. 3.4 billion people are without safely managed sanitation. The report also found that 106 million people rely directly on untreated surface water. Rural communities remain the most disadvantaged compared to urban areas, although urban coverage for hygiene and drinking water has stagnated. To discuss the World Water Week and the theme, Water for Climate Action, with me is Executive Director, Renvlin Development Initiative, Philip Jakpo. Good to have you join us on World Now. Well, it's another World Water Week, but we're still faced with the staggering data. 2.1 billion people lack safely managed drinking water. What is the world not doing right?
Thank you for having me. I think you have asked the right question. What is the world not doing right? Now, if you take note, every year these figures go up. They don't go down. That will mean we are not addressing the situation rightly. And like you and I know, and like we all know, access to water is a sustainer to life. I may not concern myself with what is happening outside Africa, because Africa is the epicenter of this lack. Most of the figures that have been mentioned are in Africa. And ironically, Africa has huge water bodies. But unfortunately, because of the climate impacts that African countries continue to experience, most people, especially in the rural areas and in large swaths of areas, do not have access to water. I will give a good example with the northern part of the country, where you have the drying Lake Chad and about 11 states facing desertification. The crisis we have in the north today, and many parts of the north today, which has forced many people to move, which is affecting food security, is as a result of this crisis. And it's because the fact that we have big corporations that are only interested in commercialization of water. And our governments have bought this idea of privatizing water, which usually does not solve the problem, but cuts a large number of people away from funding, away from access to water. So what we must start questioning, first of all, that the huge budget that we hear voted every year for provision of water that does not address the water crisis. So we, like I said earlier on, is a situation where huge votes go into water, provision of water, and we don't see, water adequately in the communities. We don't. It's just
so, Mr. Jakpo,
mouthing on the part of government.
All right. So it means that you want implementation and you want monitoring of the implementation exercise to ensure that what has been budgeted for is actually implemented, isn't it?
We must start first of all by probing the billions that have been voted for years from monies gotten from different agencies, World Bank, EU, for funding water that we've not seen water in the communities. That's the starting point. And then we must escalate advocacy to ensure that monies voted for water, provision of water, are actually used for the provision of water. Those are critical things we must do.
Executive Director, Renvlin Development Initiative, Philip Jakpo. Thank you for your time on World Now.